Hi guys, today is June 22nd. Got a lot of information to cover. If you guys are not saved, I highly recommend getting on the save train. Jesus is about to come and claim his prized possession. The rapture is about to happen. I don't know the day or hour, but it's very, very soon. And this information that I'm getting ready to give you proves it. We have Isaiah 17, Psalm 83, leading into Ezekiel 38-39 war. In 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4, that is the gospel, the death, the burial, the resurrection, believing that Jesus Christ is who he said he is, that he was born, that he died, and he rose again on the third day according to the scriptures. Faith plus nothing, but faith without works is dead. So remember, salvation comes as a free gift to all who ask for it. Because Jesus died for the remission of your sins, and you do not want to get left here for this nuclear war that's getting ready to happen. So, having said that, the Taliban informed Iran that it is prepared to deploy thousands of troops to fight against Israel. Okay, and Israel is about to let loose in Lebanon. The prophecy of the destruction of Damascus, which we know is Isaiah 17, and it could have already happened, but there's so much of Damascus in ruins and is uninhabitable. So when the prophets saw that in a vision, they could have seen a good chunk of it, not like the whole thing. And it doesn't say that every single stone will be turned over. Psalm 17 already happened. Okay, so all the countries that was fighting Israel through their proxy armies, and now we have these countries that are getting involved physically. So what we're seeing is the Psalm 83 war. So we have Russia, China, Iran will not be destroyed because the momentum of this war will blend into the Ezekiel 38:9 war. And Damascus is already a heap of rubble, and a few may still live in it, but as a city it once was is no more. And we just seen that. So thank you, Ron, for that information. So now this other information that I'm going to present, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And I have got this from so many different sources. WW3 talks, John T., Mary. I mean, I can't even keep up with all the information that everybody's given me. So as a whole, I want to thank the body of Christ for giving me such information to be able to present it while you were unable to. So breaking, the State Department has a warning, okay, that no American citizens should travel to Russia for any reasons, okay, and that's because of the war. All right, and then we have that Abu Talib is undoubtedly significant, but we take solace in the fact that he died a martyr, achieving his highest aspirations. Our resolve to continue the fight against Israel is now stronger than ever. Meanwhile, Israeli forces on the northern front have been told to maintain high level of readiness as security situations can deteriorate rapidly. Here's the next one. The eruption of an outright war is expected on or about June 24th. Israel sent a message to Lebanon this week via U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein, declaring that Hezbollah must relocate all of its forces to north of the Litani River by June 24th, or Israel will launch a military offensive, okay? Hezbollah responded immediately, telling Hochstein no, and adding Israel does not get to dictate to Lebanon, where in Lebanon any Lebanese citizens are able to live. All right, so why is this important? Because this information right here that I have written down took me a while to put this stuff together. So Putin requested a dialogue with the United States. They said it is to avoid the next step, which is nuclear war. They flat out came out, said, let's have a talk. So he's calling on NATO to sit down and discuss what the next steps are going to be. They're saying Putin is leading the World War III because he's visiting North Korea, Iran, China will all be coming together. Just like in my dreams, and I've showed you that numerous times. The East is led by Russia, and the West is led by the United States. And and Putin recently signed a defense agreement with North Korea, in which he is considering changing the nuclear doctrine as well. So why is Russia specifically calling on the United States? Well, here's why. Roughly 88% of the world's nuclear weapons are owned by Russia and the United States, and are by far the greatest nuclear powers in the world. Russia has 5,580 nuclear warheads. The U.S. has 5,044 warheads, so Russia has more. But if you combine them, they have the deadliest weapons, and 10,000 of them put together. Imagine those popping off, especially all at once. This world would be done. Okay, so there's no other nation that has more than 500 nuclear warheads, nuclear missiles. Okay, and China sits right exactly at 500. So we have 10 times the power over China, as Russia has 10 times power over China, but Russia has more power over the United States. And Russia and the United States have the most nuclear power on Earth. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. Whew! Now, Russia said if there's an all-out war, they will win. And we know that. All right? And they will. And we have more power, and they have more power and more countries backing them up. Okay? So when they come against the United States, it's not just going to be Russia. You're going to have China. You're going to have Nato. You're going to have all these other countries coming after us. Okay? And he's not as concerned about NATO, right, going to war with them as he is with us. So we have to remember that the other nations will side with Russia because of their backing power. All right. And then this talk could be the last step before nuclear war breaks out. And Biden has been pushing the bear's button, so what do you think's going to happen? Russia said that tensions are the highest it's been since World War II. And Russia said we are ready and staying ready, and they don't play. They are prepared at any moment for anything. So they're wanting to change the agreement from an escalate to de-escalate clause to preemptively strike, so as if they feel threatened, they can still use nuclear tactics to help against if they feel their sovereignty is threatened from another country, which right now they are. They are feeling threatened, and that is the exact reason why they want to get a hold of the United States in a talk. So the U.S. and NATO... This includes the threats from the West, which is the U.S. and NATO. Russia's talks want to include a peace talk with the U.S., but they must be comprehensive and include the subject of Ukraine. Okay, are we not funding Ukraine? Russia's against Ukraine. Now, here's the kicker. All right, so we're getting the blame for the escalation of war in Ukraine because Russia said any country supplying nuclear long-range missiles to reach Russia from Ukraine will be held accountable. So a few weeks ago, the Biden administration told Ukraine do not use the U.S. missiles into Russia, and they changed their stance and went within 24 hours, and they said that they had the okay, so they launched missiles into... U.S. missiles into Russia, so therefore we are being held accountable. So Russia this past week teamed up with North Korea and now sending adversaries into the United States, and North Korea said they'll be sending it out as well. And now, the dialogue from Russia for talks to U.S., we refused and said any subject matter is up for discussion with Ukraine. So therefore, they was protagonizing, okay, there was antagonizing the war against Moscow. And see the mess that we're in. Now, the list of topics with Russia continues to grow because of what we're doing. And so the visit is getting longer and growing more concerning. So Russia said in the North Korea pact that they may supply nuclear arms to go against the West, which is us, by the way, or the U.S. arming Ukraine. So the United States has a system in place in case of a nuclear war. So we're able to be prepared, right? But we're on ready preparedness. Russia, in their stance, has actual doctrines in place that state, if this happens, then that. And if that happens, then this will happen. Okay? And so they are more ready than we are, and we will not defeat Russia in this World War III. Why? Because the Battle of Armageddon is the one that does that. Okay? When we come back to fight with that. So, right now, America is going to get wiped off the map, quote unquote. Our roots are going to be destroyed. We're going to be plucked out of here so that God can focus everything on the timing of Jacob's trouble. Okay? And through this massive war, chaos that's happening, we know that the Antichrist steps in to cause a world peace. Okay? And so Russia wants to change the escalate to de-escalate because now they feel a threat to their sovereignty. And in my dream, Russia, China, and NATO all come against the United States. We are there. So now, I have one other article, information that I want to present to you. So the other thing I wanted to tell you was this. This is on War News, and I'm going to put the link so you guys can start reading this stuff for yourself. War News 247 is new front. North Korean forces attack South Korea with defense pact in place and Russian Pacific Fleet in firing positions. 40 Russian warships in combat positions near South Korea and Japan. South Korea summons Russian ambassador for explanation. Another front between the superpowers is being activated on this planet. So, for the third time this month, North Korean troops have crossed the de facto border of South Korea, forcing South Korean forces to open fire with warning shots. This time, there is a telling difference as the Russian-North Korean defense pact is in full effect and the Russian Pacific Fleet is simulating a major naval confrontation near South Korea and Japan. This right here, I want to read to you. Chinese espionage on U.S. soil. Taking the U.S. from the inside, Chinese intelligence a breath away from 19 U.S. bases, Beijing's surveillance network. Okay? And so the Chinese are next to 19 U.S. military installations. The New York Post has identified 19 military installations from Florida to Hawaii that are located near tracts of land that was acquired by Chinese entities. Remember how I said that the Chinese came in and they had spies and they bought out a lot of our farmlands? Well, here we go. Examples include Fort Liberty, which is formerly Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Cavazos, which is formerly Fort Hood in Texas, Camp Pendleton Marine Corps Base in San Diego, California, and MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. So, General Robert S. Spaulding III, an expert in Sino-American relations, sounds the alarm because, according to his words, we should be concerned because of the proximity to strategic areas. And it's very important because if China is already here, you think about this, Russia's on our border, China inside, China 500 nukes, Russia 5,580, okay? Boop, boop, inside, no one's leaving, no one's coming in. Well, there you go. And then, worryingly, there are no laws preventing the Chinese, right, from buying property in the United States. So, under the guise of the agriculture operations, Chinese owners can install tracking and identification technologies, use radar and infrared scans to monitor the bases, or even fly drones over these top secret facilities. That is why we've seen so many drones. I've had those dreams. On my old channel, I've put it, and on the Lost and Weary page. Actually, before I even moved here, I never even knew about this house, but I was walking down, and all of a sudden there's a big old drone type thing that flew down, and it ended up being a horse. Well, I started running, and I seen a horse, and this was when the fields were like almost completely plowed down. And there was a horse that came down, and there was a father and a son on there, and he reached down to grab me and lifted me up. And I knew it was the rapture, and I woke up. I've had several dreams of different drones, too. But I'm just saying that they're spying on us. So people have been seeing UFOs or been like, oh, I've been seeing, you know, drones and things like that. That's not normal. I believe Ron has seen stuff. I've seen stuff, you know, and it's just off-the-wall little things. Like, you wouldn't even think it's anything. But I believe it's so they can track also how many people are in one area. All right. So a report in the Wall Street Journal from September of 23 spoke of Chinese hackers attempting to breach U.S. military installations more than 100 times in recent years, so including a sneaky attempt to infiltrate a missile test site in New Mexico, as well as scuba divers who were spotted near a missile facility in Florida. All right, so we have the Department of Homeland Security, and I actually know a couple guys that work for them, or used to work for them, has also warned of the threat of the Chinese spies infiltrating the U.S. southern border disguised as immigrants. See, this is how I know that God is speaking to me, because I have spoken of this stuff in previous videos before this articles have even come out. Like, this is just an article that came out today, well, yesterday. So, like, this is this is just confirmation. All right. And then these spies will likely use economic espionage and seek to illegally obtain our technologies and intellectual property. Now, Ron, if you're listening, you told me about a movie. I don't know if it was the day after tomorrow or whatever, but it's about the Chinese hackers who are in the United States, and they're able to shut down our power grid. Okay, and that is basically what I have been receiving through this. They're able to get into our technology. They're able to hack our phones, and so on and so forth. So they're monitoring the movements of our American forces, so they know how to fight us from the inside out, which is very cowardly, by the way. So the Chinese are using, or will use, the farmland to learn more about the U.S. military capabilities, movements, and technology. Boom. And what's ironic is I just spoke about this, a month ago in my videos. So this is just more confirmation that I'm just not making stuff up. I mean, this stuff isn't just conspiracy. This stuff's facts. And the fact that this is happening in our United States and people are not concerned about it concerns me more. All right, so this will allow them to better understand how to move their military from a defensive strategy to an expeditionary strategy. So how to move forces quickly for conflicts like taking over Taiwan, and how and when the forces of the U.S. would respond to their incursions based on the movement of troops to these bases. And it would allow the Chinese to investigate what is moving and how to combat it. It's easy to recognize mobilization if you know what to look for. And hearing GLs talk in local storage units being rented near a base in an indication that troops are leaving. And a train carrying tanks, strikers, followed by an increased number of transport landing and taking off from a base like Lewis McChord in Washington State would indicate that the U.S. forces are moving. According to the latest analysis from the USDA's Farm Service, Chinese investors owned 349,442 acres of U.S. farmland as of December 31st, 2022. And so we have which Chinese are buying acres of farmland next to the U.S. bases. Okay. And Gang Zhang spent about $110 million buying land next to Lackland Air Base in Valverde County, a military pilot training site. And so the Chinese Communist Party has demonstrated time and time again that it is willing to invest billions of dollars to expand its spying capabilities and global reach, including through plans to buy land near military bases. So they have bought out 300 acres of farmland 40 miles from Grand Forks Air Force Base, North Dakota, in 2022. Fort Liberty in North Carolina is surrounded by Chinese pre-owned farmland within a 30-mile radius. In a move recognized these security risks, Chinese-backed cryptocurrency mining company was barred from owning land in Wyoming. All right, and so we have, I'm just going to say, in Maine, Army National Guard, Wright-Patterson in Ohio. We have Fort Liberty in North Carolina. We have the Naval Station Norfolk. We have them in Florida, 2 in Florida. We have Georgia, Texas, another one in 2 in Texas, Hawaii, Arizona, 2 in California, 1 in Washington. We have 2 in Utah. Grand Forks Air Base, is that in Wyoming? We have Missouri, Ohio, 2 in Missouri. So, this is all over the United States. Like I said, I'm going to put the article down here so you guys can look for this stuff for yourself. So we've had many security incidents. We've already had, you know, our phones being hacked. We've had the switching over. We've had the hacking of our system. We've had blackouts. You know, we've had all that. So I don't really want to read all this. This information's pretty much self-explanatory when you guys are able to read it yourself. So I just want to tell you guys, we are here. And if America, which we have said we did not want to do these peace talks, because they said that what needs to happen is they need to talk to Ukraine, because any incidents that's happened is up to Ukraine. But the thing is, it was us funding Ukraine. And so because of that, we're in deep doo-doo. I believe with all of our heart, anytime, with all of my heart, excuse me, that anytime, at any moment, that these strikes will happen. And even if Russia agrees not to do it, it's not a matter of if they're going to do it, it's a matter of when. And they will do it. They wouldn't be having all over the news for people to protect themselves from a nuclear strike and to get stocked up on food and water along with all this famine. Because why do you think they're trying to starve us out? Because when this nuclear crap happens, FEMA is the only place that people are going to go for their food. Okay, America is not going to be inhabited like it was before. We are going to be completely on lockdown, military, what's that called? Martial law is what I wanted to say. So I don't want to be here for that. So make sure that you have Jesus in your heart, and I will see you guys there or in the air. God bless.